Okay, hello. If anybody is on right now, welcome. Few minutes late. I know. I'm looking for my friend Shannon Greer, who will be doing this event with me. I have cleaned my glasses too, just in case anyone's wondering. Yeah, where am I right now? No one's up. Didn't. Oh, good.
I just texted you and said, "Where are you?"
That's. I'm always running late. You know me. I'm always running late, doing stories, trying to get justice. How are you?
Great.
Great. I'm sorry to hear what happened with some of the pups.
Yeah, it was sad. This poor family. I mean, you never think you're going to lose your dogs in a house fire. Like
No,
that's not
that's
something that you think about. So you think about the normal stuff, like they're going to get old, or it was just it was a bad day yesterday for them. So
okay. So the topic tonight is because we've only got an hour. People are asking what's the topic. The topic tonight is Animal Action Plan for Change. This is a workshop, a really good workshop that actually Shannon put together. It's going to show people, it's going to show you how you can go from step 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way down the line. You want to get justice for an animal, you got to do these steps. And Shannon's got them. So Shannon, let's hit it. You've got a lot to talk about.
okay, we're going right into it. So
Yep.
every day, Paul and I get asked, "Can you help me? Can you help me? Can you help me?" And the reality is, we don't have that big of a bandwidth, really. Like it's this much, and everyone thinks it's this much. Like,
Yeah.
so I always tell people, for us to help you, you have to help yourself first, and you have to, get this and do some things to bring us something to work with, because
Right.
we can't do it all on our own. So
Sadly, we'd like to, but we can't.
we'd love to, but we can't. So we created the Animal Action Plan. And basically what that means is, let's say you are having an issue in your local community. Let's say that you are, you have a concern about your local animal shelter. Let's say you see a situation online and social media, and you're concerned about that. The reality is, you need to fully assess the situation. Okay? You need to ask questions. You need to document what you're looking at with pictures. You need to see the situation for yourself before you jump on the social media bandwagon and just assume that everything that is posted is true.
Right.
It's very much not the case. So if you have a concern at your local animal shelter, you need to go down and talk to them. You need to talk to the staff. You need to take pictures of stuff that you see. You need to maybe become a volunteer so you can see some of the inner workings, so that you can gather some information on what's going on. You need to really fully assess the situation that you're dealing with, because that is important when you're going into this. And
So basically, let me interrupt you, Shannon, right there. You need to go there, be there, look with your own eyes, smell, touch, feel, whatever. Use those senses, because you want to know what is happening there. You want to see it firsthand. You want to talk to the people who are there. You just want to make sure, and bring your notes, bring your phone, whatever. You just want to get a real grasp on what you believe or what you've been told is happening there. And Shannon, take it from there.
So then you want to build a timeline. And the reason why timelines are so important when you're doing investigations like this, like we did for Justice for Gunner, is that as you start to put a timeline together, you start to realize things that maybe you didn't realize before. So a timeline can be built off Google searches. Google search the shelter and say, hey, what's in the news? And if you see a story from a certain time period, put it on the timeline and build it out. The timeline with Gunners started with 1 page. It's now 6 pages long, and it goes back to 2015. And that's how we were able to document the numerous issues they've had over the years to show it was a systemic issue that they had been band-aiding.
And okay, so we talk about that systemic issue, though. That involves a lot of investigating, but it also involves the person, a people being the public. And we talk about the public, we have a voice and we can get things, right?
Right. So you need to go online to your city websites and you need to look to see if they have an animal advisory group or a committee that the city has formed.
Who knew?
If they do, those minutes are available to you. And generally those minutes will tell you issues or concerns at that shelter. So you can document that and then put that into your timeline. So your timeline should be built off Google searches, advisory committee notes, talking to people, just basic research that can be done in an hour online.
Also, you can use Chat GPT. I mean, it goes through the internet. It's not necessarily correct, but at least it gives you some more information that you want to do fact checking on as well.
Then, as the public, here's the thing: we have the right to know, especially when it's a city, state, or federal entity. We have the right to know what matters, and it's called public information. Public information is in all 50 states, including the District of Columbia. So what that means is you have access to public records. You just have to, what? Ask for them.
The closed mouth does not get fed.
Yes. So what we are doing is, each state, it's called something different. It could be the Sunshine Law, the Open Records Law, Public Records Law. And in the document that Paul is putting on his website, there is a link that gives you access to all 50 states, and you can find out what your state's rules are. But are there records that are exempt? Obviously, yes. Right. Records that include social security numbers, addresses, email addresses, birth dates, anything that's personal that could be considered a data breach, that can be redacted from a public record. So it's important when you ask for things to know that it may come with black lines through it. And that's because they're redacting something that's private. So when they say, are you willing to accept this public record with redactions? You say yes, because that means they're going to redact the legal information they're allowed to. On the federal side of it, it's called a FOIA. But generally in the state and local side, it's called a public information. So that's kind of the difference when you hear the term PIR versus FOIA.
Right. That's a good point, because, even as a journalist for all those years, I didn't realize that there was a PIR versus FOIA. So again, public information request on a local or maybe even statewide level, but a FOIA, Freedom of Information Act, is federal.
Right.
Okay.
So who handles it? Who does it? Right.
Right.
Well, that in the municipal level, your city level, it's going to be your city secretary. At the county level, it'll probably be a district clerk. At the federal level, online, because you're never going to know who handles it. So you're never going to have any idea.
Right.
But call your city secretary, call your district clerk and say, how do I file something for public information? Right? That's what you're going to ask for.
And the other thing too, because we jump in and there's a delay, but don't be afraid to ask. These people they're being paid by your tax dollars. So if they give you an attitude, if they give you a problem, remember, just be nice and, try to be as nice as you can and remind them, hey, I need this, right?
So remember, any person who goes to work for a city, state, or government job, one of the documents they have to sign when they go to work there is that anything you do through your email, through your internet, it is all public record. So you have to understand anyone can come and ask for any information about you. So they know that these records can be asked for.
And remember, and one of the biggest surprises I found out when we did this same thing on Facebook Live, you can request a public official's text messages.
Oh, yes, you can. And you can find some very good stuff, like Mindy Henry saying, it's old, it's this, it's blind, it's deaf, kill it. Unalive it. Yeah, that was in a text message.
Yep, TikTok shop.
Yep. So what can I ask for? What can I get? Oh, well, let me tell you. Lots of information. So you want to make your request as specific as possible, but also as broad as possible. That's kind of an oxymoron, right? So For example, a general request would be asking for all documents, video and audio recordings, photos and reports related to a specific animal, and make sure you put their animal ID number if you have it, or a cruelty case that's being investigated. So it's very important, the wording, right? So it's ask for any and all documents and whatever. Now let's say you want an HR file. Yes, people, your HR file, if you are a city, state, or government employee, is public record. If you have had a review or if someone has written you up, that is public record. So what do you want to ask for in an HR file? Well, you don't want to get as specific on this one. You want to say, I would like any and all records related to the name of the person.
Any and all.
Yes.
And those three words together can make a significant difference in what you get and what you do not get.
That can get you the whole file. It gets you their write-ups. It gets you their reviews. It gives you their pay increases. It gets you any HR write-ups. It gives you everything, all their training, everything. Now, there's a lot of redactions in an HR file because there's personal information, but it gives you the ability to see if that person has had a problem at that job. And that is how we found Mindy Henry in the Justice for Gunner case had a history. So don't be afraid to pull an HR record from the current shelter that you're at for someone that you have a concern about, and find out on LinkedIn where they worked before and go pull it from the other city like we did. So feel free to ask for it. You can also ask for public officials' emails, texts, and messages. So you want to use keywords in this case. You want to say, I would like the emails, texts, and messages for so-and-so representative from 1/1/2020 to present. I would like the communications that include all emails, text messages between person A or B. So let's say you want the emails between the mayor and the city manager, or the city manager and the director of the animal shelter. And you can say for the time period. So you can ask for any of that. And you should not be afraid to go and ask for that. Then you can ask for statistical reports, and you can say, I would like a copy of the annual disposition statistical reports that include the live release rate of intake, adoption, redemptions, wildlife for the last 5 years. What can this show you? Well, let's say in 2020, their live release rate, was very high, and now it's dropping down. You can look at how many dogs were euthanized then versus now. And if you start to see an increase in that, you might wonder what's happening at that shelter. Because right now in most shelters, we're seeing a decrease in that.
Right.
But if you start to see that number creeping up, you're going, something might be wrong here. You can also ask for animal detail sheets. So most animal shelters in this day and age have a software system that they put every animal into. That's how they control their animals, unlike back in the day when we had to do it all by paper, which really sucked.
Hey, I just want to interrupt real quick. So everybody, the topic here is not referring to any specific animal. No name, this is a step-by-step workshop, if you will, that's going to show you how to do some investigating, not to come to the big time animal advocates, whatever. This is how you can start in your own community using your voice. And Shannon's put this together. And again, I will have all of this, the video and the papers, on my website. It's TheRealPaulMueller.com. And yes, it does cost for some of this. It's a minimal cost, I would say. But if you want to investigate, if you want to make sure there's justice for an animal, this is the way to go. Sorry, I'm interrupting.
So but it's very true, right? Like, we get asked after every live, I have 10 inbox messages. Can you help me with this case? Can you help? And my response back is, what do you know? What have you done? Do you have any PIRs? Do you have any? No. This is what you need to do yourself to come to us and say, we need help. Because the truth is, we don't have time to do this for every single animal. You are the voice for your local community. You have to fight for your animals, and this is how you do it. So back to the animal detail sheet. That has their medical intake, what vaccinations they were given, all of the information. So you're going to say, I am requesting any and all documents related to an animal ID number for the intake date of, I would like their intake records, medical records, camera footage, emails, and any records kept in your shelter management software. And you don't say program, you say programs. Because
Programs. Why?
they could have recently gotten it and had a different program, and you want them to get it from both programs.
And look at the difference one little letter can make.
So I'll explain that. In Gunner's case, they had their shelter pet point software, and it said the microchip was out of date. But then we went back and said, wait a minute, we learned you had Shelter Pro. We want the Shelter Pro intake forms. And guess what was on that form from 2021?
A phone number?
The correct phone number, address, and owner name.
Although
had
what they did,
had they just run the microchip number in the second program, which would have taken less than a minute, they would have seen they had the information. But because their data port was not successful when they upgraded to the new program, if they're not checking the old one, they're missing the information.
so what they did was they used they scanned the microchip, and the information was outdated.
Correct.
Right. And
Right.
we talked about, you and I, we were able to, find John Gunner's dad's ex-wife's phone number. We're asking, and here's John's phone number. How long did that take us?
Yeah. 30 seconds.
How long did that take? Seriously, how long did that take us? No time at all.
It took me 30 seconds.
Right. And the staff at the shelter would be the operative word, could have done the same thing.
But they didn't even need to. They didn't even need to spend the 30 seconds to Google it. Had they just opened their other program and realized Gunner had been there before, they had it. They had it the whole time.
Exactly.
So you want to say programs when you're asking for the animal shelter software detail reports.
Okay.
You can also ask for investigations or audits. And the reason why you want to be broad is, like in this, you would say, I'm requesting a copy of any investigation, audit, review of animal services in the last 10 years. The reason you want to use multiple words is because you don't know what the city calls it. And if you ask for the investigation and they call it an audit, they're not going to send it to you because you asked for any investigation. So you want to say, I want a copy of any investigation, audit, review of the Animal Services Department for the last 10 years.
I know this is backwards, but the words, you're going to see this, and you can download this from my page, I believe. It's the words are right there. Shannon's got you covered.
I have all the examples written down. So, and those will help guide you into other questions that you can ask for.
Yes.
So then your next step, you are your most powerful voice of change. You are, you guys. The reason you love us is because we're using our voice, but it started in our local communities first before it went nationwide. You need to form a local animal advocates group. As a member of your community, you have the power to create positive change by simply using your voice and your signature and your vote. If your local elected officials, your mayor and your council, are not supporting the animals, then get them out of office by voting them out. Help the other campaign. Don't look at what party they're in. Help the one that's supporting the animals.
Yes.
Okay? Engage your other local community members and say, does anyone else have this concern? Put a thing on social media and say, I'm concerned about this. Get others. Then create a group and keep it simple, such as Bastrop Animal Advocates, the Colony Animal Advocates, Denton Animal Advocates.
I've got one, Columbus, Georgia, Columbus Animal Allies. And let me tell you, that group grew, it was just in the beginning, small, it grew, and they were able to essentially, remember at the end, right now they're in the process of a third of the shelter employees in Columbus, Georgia, were arrested. A third were arrested because of why? They must have a Shannon Bulldog like clone there, because they got what they needed to make things happen. And the city council the city council essentially and the mayor were ignoring them. But when they got the things they did, yeah, the blank hit the fan.
But the reason why you also want to keep it simple is people search on Facebook for their cities, such as, for me, one of the groups I'm in is Frisco's Pet Project for the city of Frisco. So if I type in Frisco, then that page is going to come up because it has the word Frisco in it. So if someone is looking at the animal shelter in your community, they're going to find the page you create because of that. So you want to use simple words so it's easy to find by the search tools. You want to create a Gmail account with your group's name, Frisco's Pet Project at gmail.com. Use that email to set up social media accounts with the same name, Frisco's Pet Project, Frisco's, on all platforms, right?
On all platforms.
All platforms. And so then you can keep a database of the people who message you and email you so you can start to say, hey, elections are coming up. We need you guys to go out. When we had someone get elected recently, she ran as a pet advocate. Now, she's not, and we're going to get her unelected in the next election. But those 8,000 voters that we contacted that were pet-related voters, they voted for her. That helped her win. Now, we're going to help her unwin that seat. But the point is, you have the power to change your own city with your voice, your signature, and your vote.
Say that. I know you've said this. Just say that one more time. Let's all close our eyes to fully comprehend, Shannon, what you just said.
You have the power to change what is happening in your city with your voice, your vote, and your signature.
You have the power. So don't, you know, oftentimes we think of it as officials, big wall, brick wall. We can't go through it, but we can.
Right. Absolutely we can.
All we need is the information. All we need is that information that you're telling us how to get right now.
Right. So the next step is you want to develop your group's call to action and your purpose. And it's very simple. You need to identify what your problem is and what your call to action and your purpose is. What is the solution? So for example, with Gunner, the problem was that they euthanized him on a 72-hour stray hold. They never should have done that. That is the problem. The solution? Well, there's a lot, right? Because it grew into a much bigger issue than just that issue. But it is very clear what we are asking for, and that you have to be just as clear when you're talking to your officials about that. So what are some common solutions to typical problems? Let's say you need a larger shelter. Then your solution is funding. How do we help you fund a larger shelter? Do we need to open a building fund? Do we need to create a 501c? What can we do to make our city commit to building a bigger shelter? Well, you might need to do that with your group, a building fund. Mm-hmm. A volunteer group. Maybe your local shelter does not have a volunteer group. Maybe you need to create one because guess what? The best eyes are inside.
Right.
So if you are inside seeing that animal shelter every day, you can take notes and document all of those things that are happening and then use that to your advantage in your group. So that's a good one. Let's say you need help. There's too many loose animals on the streets and you need spay and neuter clinics. Okay. How do we help fund that for you? So there's solutions to every problem and you need to go and identify the problem for the representative. And then you need to say, here's your solution. If you don't bring the solution and you only tell them what they're doing wrong, they're going to listen to you for maybe 30 seconds. Now we get to the most important part, right? You need to reach out to your city leaders, your county leaders, and your state representative. You guys, I go to Austin. 2025 is our time to go back to the Capitol in Texas. I will be down there and I will be lobbying for the ethical pet sales bill, which stops puppy mills. I will be advocating for a lot of animal bills. I was one of the 3 members that got that bill brought to the floor the first time in 2021 because I simply called my representative and said, I don't like pet land in my neighborhood and I want you to shut it down. And I want you to bring a puppy mill pipeline bill. His response was, okay, let's do it. That's simple, you guys. It literally was that simple. Now, is it always that simple? No. And this bill is going to be the third time we bring this bill in a different format. So this is the third session, and we will be down there. THLN, a major group in Texas, is going to be down there lobbying for this. So use your representatives. They represent you. You elected them. Mm-hmm. You elected them. You tell them what you need. They don't tell you what you need. Very clear. Right. So how do I find my representative? That's what I always hear. How do I know who my representative is? Ooh. Okay. Well, in the document, it says click here. And if you click on it, it's going to take you to a government website. You're going to enter your name, your address, your zip code, and it's going to say, here are your representatives at the federal level, mm-hmm. the state level, the county level, and in your own city or township. Yeah. So it gives you every single one of your representatives.
And that's the thing, that when I do my animal injustice videos and animal abuse videos, I always say TikTok shop, whatever, that here's at the end of the video, have your voices heard, because that's the biggest thing. If they're not hearing enough voices necessarily, they're like, whatever. But we know, and there's another thing too, Shannon, I think we should address too. We know when we bombard them with emails and calls. The other thing too is we need to be, in my humble opinion, respectful of them and not bring it up as, hey, no, just, because you attract more flies with honey than you do with vinegar. My mama always used to tell me.
I might argue that just a little bit.
Go ahead.
It depends on if you need a pit bull.
Oh, so people love, this is our thing. People love me. People love
to hate me.
That's what we were talking about the other day, because I'm kind of the nice one. Kind of.
Yeah, we're on the phone at 1 a.m, and Paul's like, people love me. I'm like, well, people love to hate me, Paul. So it all works itself out.
There was a little more to that, but okay. All right. So the thing is, Shannon's the bulldog. And, for her to have gone ahead and all you have to do is click the link. Click the link. And then there you go.
You just have to click the link and you can find out who your representatives are.
Right.
So, how do you communicate with them? The same way you communicate with us. You email them, you call them, you send them a letter, you tag them on social media, you do a social media post, you ask for a face-to-face meeting. I would like to come to your office and meet with you. They have an office at the Capitol in Austin, and my representative has an office 1.5 miles from my house. So when they're home, they're at their home office. When they're in Austin, they're at their Austin office. So easy. You say, I would like to meet with you and discuss an issue that I have. Okay, great. You can go to town halls. Your cities or townships have town halls all the time. You can attend council meetings. There are so many different ways. If you're in a county, and let's say you're not in a city like me, I live in Denton County, but I'm not in an actual city. Well, my county commissioners are the equivalent of the city council for a city. They are the ones that determine the budget for that county and how much that animal shelter gets. Right. So I'm going to be calling my county commissioners, and shout out to Ryan Williams and Kevin Falconer. They know me very well. Those are my representatives. And they're great guys. They love me. I mean, just saying, shout out to my commissioners. But those are the people in the county who control it. So you have your cities, city council, counties, county commissioners, state legislator, state senator. Then you have your U.S. senator, which is in Washington. So email, call all of them. All of them.
Or a request, hey, can I come over for a while? How many times have they, I'm curious, have they said no to you, like on several occasions after you've been there once?
Yes. And you know what I do?
What?
Irregardless if you're a Republican or a Democrat, because animals is a universal issue.
Thank you.
You can look up your precinct chair. Do you know what a precinct chair is?
I don't. Go ahead, tell us.
Okay. The Republican Party has precinct chairs, and the Democratic Party has precinct chairs. They are the ones that come at election time and knock on your door and say, hi, here's a door hanger. We would like to remind you to go vote for Donald Trump or Kamala Harris on whatever day. And they annoy you, and they leave all those little flyers on your door about political people.
That's who that is?
Those are your precinct chairs. Now, that's how all these guys get elected. They rely on their precinct chairs. So these precinct chairs have great relationships with the representatives in those parties. So if I couldn't get to my state legislator, Jared Patterson, I might call my precinct chair, which is me, by the way. So I would have to call like if I was in a different precinct. But you call and you say, hi, you don't know me, but I see that you're my precinct chair. I'm trying to get a meeting with Jared Patterson, my state rep. Could you help me? I have an issue I'd like to discuss with him.
Could you help me? I like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Shout out to Jared Patterson because
Again.
I put the guy through a lot. So I got to give my state reps their shout out. But that's what you do. You use your voice at every level. These people are not exempt from taking and hearing you. You are paying the taxes, which pays the bills for the city, it pays the bills for the county, and it pays the bills in the state of Texas or whatever state you're in. So use your voice, use your signature, use your ability to vote, and make those changes.
Well,
and don't be afraid. If you get pushback, and I'm going to give you a live example.
Right back.
We had the pushback in 2023 for the pet puppy mill pipeline bill. I called one of my state reps locally here, and I said to him, if you vote against this bill, then I am going to take my friend's land in Crum and put signs for your opponent down that road in the next election and get you voted out of office. Well, guess what, guys? He's no longer in office this year. Voted out. We have the power to change it. Yes, it is work. And yes, it is a passion to do it. But you have the power to change it.
There, and we want to make sure people know, because I just listening to that, I'm exhausted. But the thing is, it's going to take time, which we don't really have. But, some people don't have. And it's also going to take patience, because if you want to get to the goal, it's essentially one step at a time to get there. And if they try to shut you down, do not allow that to happen. If you push down, like in life, get up and keep fighting. People say, you're scrappy, Paul. And I'm like, what the heck does that mean? They're like, you get knocked down all the time, but you keep getting up. And that's the whole thing here. We want justice for these animals. Bottom line, end of story. And this, can I get some hearts for this woman right here? Does this, yeah. This is what we need to do. All of us can do this. And we don't, as you said earlier in the video, Shannon, we don't just have to turn to one person like Tizzy Ent, who's great, right? We can go and do it ourselves.
Yeah, we can. And that's the thing. Look, I have a day job. Paul has a job. This is our passion and our life's work outside of that.
Yeah.
But like I said at the beginning, our bandwidth is only so big. So 90% of the messages that I get, can you help me with this? They go unread because I can't handle every one of them.
And that's the sad part. Me too.
And I hate that. I hate that. But unless y'all want to cash at me $100 every minute, I have to pay my bills because I cannot be homeless. I cannot at 47 move back in with my parents. I would unalive myself.
Yeah.
But
no, don't even say that. No.
If I had to live with my
Hold on. Does everyone like to shop at the TikTok shop? I hear they're
love
great
the TikTok
bargains.
shop.
Yeah. I got the shower head. That great shower head. Do you remember that shower head? It works wonders. The one that
shower head on the TikTok shop?
Yeah. Shower. Oh, Shannon just discovered the TikTok shop the other day. Don't get me started. But let's get back to the animals. Let's get back to your
don't
voice.
get me diverted to the TikTok shop. I'll go off. I literally just discovered it. Oh my God, that's so cool. So you have the power. Your senator works for you. Just because he's on Fox, MSN, CNN, and you see him on the news talking to these newscasters does not mean he's exempt from taking your phone call.
Right. But I have to tell you, from being the newscaster at one point, it's much easier to get them as opposed to someone who's not on the news. Because I've learned lately that, sometimes they just don't get back. They don't get back in touch because it's like, whatever, but the persistence is key.
But, don't be afraid to ask them to bring a bill to the floor. I mean, the worst they can say is no. The most they can say is let me look into it. But the reality is we only have so much time in our day and a bandwidth so large. You guys have got to be the voice in your community. We don't know your community. We don't know it the way you do. So you've got to be out there. And if you have an issue at your local shelter, go get pictures, go see it for yourself. Just sit down before you leave with the director and say, I have an issue with this. And I'm just letting you know that I'm going to take this above you. So I don't want to surprise you in a week from now and you start getting, messages that they're getting letters, but this is unacceptable. And then go and meet your city councils or your commissioners or your senators or your representatives. The fact is, if you come to Paul or me with all of that legwork, we can then do it. But right now what happens is Paul has to pick story by story, and then his researcher has to do all that legwork that you haven't done. So that's why these stories take time to bring out, because we have to be factual with what we're saying.
And what's interesting is what you just said. A lot of animal advocates will, get all the, because a lot of y'all are better than TV news reporters or even TV news investigative reporters, because you know what? All y'all just go to that computer. It's this, right? You could teach these people in TV. And most of the time, you get all the information, you put it in a box, the bow goes on it, and you give it to the officials.
Right.
And I'm talking about Talladega. I'm talking about Talladega County, Alabama right now. They got it all the time. They got the box. Here it is. But
I mean, a lot of people don't realize how easy some of these records are to access.
Yeah.
If there is an animal advisory board in your community, chances are those are on their website under their document search. The minutes.
I'm curious, how many people in this room right now knew that there was an animal advisory committee in your community? Just hold on one second, Shannon, because I'd like to see this, because believe it or not, I didn't know, full transparency. I didn't know this. I did not know this. Look, no. The first couple of answers are no. So it's like people did not, necessarily know about. Look at this. More no's. And so
they may not have one if it's a very small town, but they may have one. Most cities set up boards and commissions. So when you go to your city website, go to the city of so-and-so boards and commissions and look to see if they're listed on your city website. And then see if there's an animal advisory board.
Mm-hmm.
Then go and start looking up their old agendas and their old minutes. They're right there online for you to look at.
And videos online, because I just Googled it and I'm seeing, there's Animal Control Advisory and an Appeals Board, Animal Control Advisory Board. Hey, their YouTube videos are right there.
And guess what? Their meetings that they post
right
72 hours before are open to the public.
Do you have to sign up? If you want to speak, can you speak at one of these meetings?
Generally, if it says citizens input on the agenda, then yes. Public input, yes. You have to sign a little card when you get there and tell them you want to speak.
Mm-hmm.
But the reality is it's there for you. And people just need to know where to look. It seems like there's been a lot of work that we did for Justice for Gunner. Because I intuitively know what I'm doing, because I have to help my director fulfill these requests all the time when they come in. I know how to do this, but it's not hard to do. Now, will there be a charge for some public records? Yes. They do have the right to charge you for the time it takes to go and gather those records. And, it can range from $1 to $100. It depends on how much data they find that they can give you. But ultimately, I've never really had one more than $7 to $10. So
I just want to address the comment, and we're going to address the comment, the questions afterwards. But I just want to. Pam E says animal rescue people are so busy taking care of the animals that we don't have time to do this, and there's a broken heart there, and I can completely understand that, because we don't necessarily have time to do all this either. So that's why, we've got to, and I like the fact of going back to social media, and maybe not necessarily on this platform, but there are lots of groups on Facebook, the book, as some people call it.
I'm going to play devil's advocate with that comment for a minute.
Okay, again, go ahead.
Here's why.
Why?
Yes, we are taking care of animals, but here's the reality. If I don't raise the issue or the concern, and that animal is in a shelter, and there's a problem, that animal could be subject to that problem in its future. So let's say I see that they're not doing the unaliving correctly. Let's say I see that they're, hurting the dogs, or I have a suspect of that. The fact of the matter is the dogs that I'm caring for are the victims in that. So I have to make the time. I spend a lot of evenings just Googling and searching websites on.
You do not sleep.
So yes, we have to take care of the animals, but the best way to take care of them is to make it change.
I like
If
that.
it doesn't change, for example, the city of Denton, if we don't make them change, there will be another gunner. There already has been another gunner. There already has been several before them. So someone had to stop and say, I'm going to fight this and I'm going to make this change. Otherwise, this will continue. That's the same thing happening in Harris County, same thing happening in San Antonio and Austin and other major cities across the country.
What was the smoking gun, if you will, for Mindy Henry that you were able to get?
So when they released their statement to the media, when it broke, they said, in consultation with our vet,
Ooh.
we made the decision to unalive Gunner. So I thought to myself, they had a veterinarian there that morning when they were closed. That's interesting. And it just didn't seem right in my head. I was like, that's interesting, because the intake notes on the report say she saw the dog, it was fine, and she gave him 3 days of medication. So a vet who discusses that isn't going to give you 3 days of medication, right? So I went to the vet online through Facebook Messenger. Literally, Facebook Messenger. And I messaged their business page and I said, we're about to go online on TikTok to 1 million followers. Do you want to tell me if you saw this dog and confirm the city's statement? Because we are going to announce that you authorized this dog to be unalived. That's what the statement said.
Yep.
Their vet approved it, and they wrote back very quickly, we never saw this dog. We never consulted in regards to this dog. So right then and there, we caught them in a lie.
You're saying the vet said, we never saw, we never consulted.
The vet said, we saw the dog at 3:52 on Tuesday. We never saw the dog on Wednesday. We were never consulted about unaliving the dog. We never would have agreed to that.
The vet basically said we gave him the gabapentin, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So the fact of the matter is, we knew then and there that statement that they had put out to every news outlet and every newspaper was a lie.
Exactly. And that's the thing about the news.
And the day when they got caught on that, the news was played too. The news didn't know any better. They didn't know who to go ask.
Right. It's so true, because you know what, when I was doing that too, because this is important, we talked about this too. If the news cycle is continuous, and oftentimes here's the press release from the shelter, and they ran with that because they don't necessarily have the time. They don't have the time. Let me say that from experience, because you got to churn and burn or whatever it is. You got to keep going with the next story, the next day. But you all probably have the time to do thorough investigating and dig deeper than just what the press release said, which is oftentimes reiterated by the news.
When you are sitting in front of your TV at night, watching a TV show after you've done your work and you've gone to the shelter and taken care of pets, pull out your laptop and start Googling. That's when I do most of my work. The TV's on the background and I'm sitting there Googling agenda items, looking for keywords such as animal shelters and things like that.
Right.
But the fact of the matter is, if John and Courtney had not made the decision to fight, there will be another gunner. There already has been many gunners.
Yep.
And that is why somebody has to say, stop. Yes, I want to care for the animals, but the best way to care for them is to make it change. Because if you don't, That's why I argue that statement. If you just sit there and say, well, I got to go take care of the dogs and that's it, and physically take care of them, that's not helping them in the long term. Mm-hmm. That's helping them in the short term. But in the long term, more animals are going to suffer.
Yeah. And that you can find, someone can find themselves in a very difficult position like that. We want to save the animals right here. But at the same time, we want to save the animals right now. Right. And that we often lose, we don't have or often lose the straight down, let's look down the road.
Yeah. And let's look at another example, right? Okay. So there's a case that is a dog in Alabama. And I talked to the owner. Yeah, Chloe. And this dog died or unalived. I forget that word. I'm sorry. TikTok shop.
I'm not rolling my eyes at you. I'm rolling my eyes at you know who.
I know. So this dog was unalived at a dog training facility. And the owner got the media to do a story, which is great. But in talking to her, she said, I've gotten it out there, but I really could ask if I could ask you some questions. So she called me. We had a great conversation. And I said to her, you have a copy of the contract. You have a copy of the necropsy report. I said, was your dog vaccinated? Because he's claiming the dog got a virus while it was there. And I said, then you need to find out if the contract requires that, because if it does, every other dog should have been vaccinated. So how did they get the virus? From improper cleaning? Like, there's a reason somehow a virus got in there, and it wasn't because of the dogs, because they should all be vaccinated per the contract.
Right.
So then I said to her, you need to go to your city council or your city, and you need to ask them for any open records related to animal services or police complaints against this company. And at both locations, because at one time they operated from another location, and it could be under that location address that the complaint has been made. And then as we were talking, I said, well, let me ask you something. Your dog was a purebred. She said, yes. I said, that means you got it at a breeder. She said, yes. I said, so you paid roughly how much for it? She's like, $1,200, $1,300. I said, well, lucky you. Guess why?
Why?
Because even though he's been charged with animal cruelty, if you go do a simple Google search of the law and animal laws, animals in Alabama are considered property.
Theft.
Now you can get him for theft. And she said, well, I asked them about that, and they said I couldn't file that it's civil. I said, oh, no. You go right back down there and you put on your bootstraps and you say, I'm filling out a theft report right now and I'm pressing charges, and I don't care what you have to say. And if you don't let me, I'm going to go to the news and tell them you won't let me. Because that dog is over a certain value of property, therefore it's theft. Mm-hmm. Now you've added to the charges that he could be charged with.
Right. And also when we talk about the news too, and I have yet to do this, you know me, procrastinator 100%. I'm also going to put together a sheet for you. And when you want to, when you call the news, when you email the news, there's a certain protocol, and trust me, I know it, because most of the time news, that's how people answer the phone, because they've got their story rundown for the day. They know what they're doing. Like, the phones just stop ringing, right? So right. I'm going to give you the tips, the insider tips of what you need to do to get the news involved. Short, sweet, and to the point. It's hard to believe that short, sweet, and to the point would come from my mouth, but it's true. Right. Shannon.
So that's it in a nutshell. I mean, it seems like it's a lot, but it's really not. And if you just follow the simple steps, and you download this from his website, then it's all written out for you on the steps that you need to take. But if you advocate as a local group, and I will tell you, I am part of Frisco's Pet Project. If you go to their website, and there's a link in this document, friscospetproject.org, you can see how one group that started with one person ended up being a group that it now has over 1,000 people. And we are advocating every day to one city. So it can grow very quickly, and it shows you what kind of information do we put on the website, what kind of things do we host or talk about, how do we follow what's happening in our own city, but as well as the counties that it's in. So those are the types of things you need to look at.
And you can't rely on the news, once again, to bring that up, to keep following it. You've got to do the work, because again, they only have a certain amount of hours in a day to get all their stuff together, and then they need to go live at 4, 5, 6, 7, and 11, and 10 probably too. So they don't have a lot of time. They can get that first story out there if they so choose to do, and then you got to push, because
Right.
I can guarantee you they're not pushing.
Very rarely will a news station do a follow up to a story.
And
Very
if they do, it's a 20-second, what we call VO. You'll see, and tonight there's good news and then 20 seconds, and then that's it.
Right.
Right.
Your biggest platform is social media. And if you form a group and you have active members, and you can even create a board, a secretary, a treasurer, whatever. You don't even need to have a treasurer if you do community engagement officer, whatever.
We talk about doing this on all social media platforms, but Shannon, where do you think, which is the best social media platform to form a group like this on?
So I think Facebook is one of the best because it is the original and it has the most users, and you're reaching users of the young age as well as your baby boomers. And let me tell you, some of your biggest advocates, people, are your 45 and up baby boomers. Mm-hmm. They have a passion for animals. So if you're 25 and you're doing this, make sure you include them in your networking, because they know how to use this system and to their advantage.
And it's so true. Those groups, and oftentimes they're private groups, right? And you just, you'll need to be, accepted to be into the group. I mean, they bring all of that information. Essentially, it's like, it's a huge database, if you will. And the people working on a story or working things, they're just going to put in that group every single day, everything that they learn. And it's like, if you want to go back all the way back to when the issue first started, it's all right there on Facebook, right?
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
It's like your encyclopedia for the whole case is right there.
Absolutely. And so that's why you have to investigate. You have to, I know that the gunner information, we found all this out in less than 2 months, all through PIRs. And when you file a PIR, they roughly have about 10 days or 12 days to respond. They may come back and say, well, to clarify, and that gives them 10 more days. So there's a process. And then at the end, they may say, well, we're sending it to the Attorney General. Okay. They send you a copy of what their argument is to the Attorney General. I go and write up my own argument, and I send it to the Attorney General. And I say, well, here's my argument as to why it should be public. Mm-hmm. Use ChatGPT if you have to say, write a rhetorical response to this showing the opposite as to why it's not. And ChatGPT will write the whole thing for you. And
like that. But you just want to make sure it's accurate at the same time. Yeah.
Right. So we are the only voice that these animals have. And you may not always be the most loved like Paul.
Oh, yeah. These days I'm not, but continue.
You could be a little hated like me, but I promise you won't be as hated as much as me. But if you don't use your own power, then you're not the animal advocate that I know you are, because you have the power to make the change. And if we all start at the local level, it will affect the county and the national level.
Shannon, we love you. That's not just from me, that's from Autumn.
Oh, I love you too.
So have we gone through essentially the very basics of what we need to do so we can answer questions now?
I'm done. I just took it out.
Okay, let me, I'm going to go back through and see, gosh, why do my things, am I being, it's that thing again. Is it the shadow banning?
Stop saying that word. That also gets you done.
Oh, hi. Because my shadow was like over my shoulder. Right.
Your SB?
Yeah, my SB, right. I can only see what I've written. That's weird.
Any questions?
Yeah, so PME says, I can't get off this live. I love this info. And that's why we're doing it. I mean, that's exactly why we're doing it, because we want to help and save as many animals as we can. And with this information, this information can prove critical, even if it's just for one life. Although the hope obviously is for, an exponential number of animals. But even if it's just for one life saved, it's worth it.
It is worth it.
Please keep tapping and clapping and tapping the screen. I like that. We try not to get involved. Okay, that's Kala. I sent you a message a few months ago about the Harris County shelter, says Turquoise Princess. Shannon and I both know, both have heard the stories there. But Shannon, what was your thought earlier about Harris County? That's a huge undertaking. And, you know, recently I was asked, why did I not get into justice for Chevy, pardon me, with the Asher House? It's because they've got a team, and it's me and Diane, and and then there's you and you and you.
Wait, I thought I'm a part of the team now.
Well, you are a part of the team, but you know what I'm saying?
I'm behind Diane, but obviously she has much more seniority.
But that's the thing. We can't do everything, and it's not like I don't want to get involved in that case. I really would, but I don't have the time. I don't have the resources. There's a team already on that too.
Harris County in Houston, Texas is its own animal, y'all. It is. There are so many layers to that. And I'm just going to say this. It starts with the government corruption at the very top of the city and all of those leaders. But here's the problem, you guys, and I'm not trying to be political, but you keep re-electing the same officials. So where does the problem lie? First, with you, the citizen. Get out there and use your voice and change that vote. I got a state rep, along with many other people, unelected. And guess what? I told him I was going to do it if he voted against the bill. It's not my fault Lynn Stuckey's out of a job. Sorry, Lynn. But the fact of the matter is, you have to use your voice. I don't care.
Not sorry.
I don't care he's the same political party as me. I don't care. He ain't working no more.
Gabby Ann writes, what if a shelter goes private? Do you have the same rights to get the information you need?
So,
good question.
Yes and no. You have, if a shelter goes private, you have to check with the city secretary. But yes, if they still have to communicate with the city and transfer information over, because the city is still responsible for some of those records. So it is harder when it's private, but you can try to go through the city to get the information that private shelter is sharing with them.
Fran Coughlin says, and I agree with this too, but I know you're going to say no. You need to run for office.
Who, me?
Yeah, I believe so. Not me.
Oh, here's why. Here's why I won't. If I do, I can't call them out and tell them they're SOBs.
More Small Joey 109. This is very interesting, and this I think is the heart of the matter here. This person says, I've been working on the shelter in my area for change, and it's hard. Damn right, it's hard, and I get you. I get you. And it's hard for change.
I'm going to say this too, and I know that this is going to upset some people.
Uh-oh.
I have been on the rescue side for many years. I have been on the animal shelter side for many years. I've done both. You guys need to research who you donate to, because you support. There are so many, even large groups. There's a national group that I have serious questions about out of Utah. Okay. You have to be careful who you support, and you have to be careful that you are doing the research into these groups. Just because they have a commercial on TV doesn't make it legit. Just because you know someone who knows someone who knows someone who's in that rescue or works at that doesn't make it legit. You have got to look and see for yourself, and you have to do your own research. But when you start sending money to anyone, last night I did my own TikTok asking to help support a family, and I sent you to my city page where I volunteer. I didn't say cash at me. I said send it here, because that's the city funding. When people are asking you for things, you have to be careful.
And I'm just going to jump in right there, because it's about damn time. In a minute. So here's the deal, y'all. People have been asking about Peanut the squirrel and Fred the raccoon. What about that? And
we're not going off on a long tangent. You have 1 minute.
Let me know when that 1 minute starts.
I'm starting now.
Go. So I haven't been covering that story because I covered it initially and I saw what was happening with that story. But, and I saw, oh, okay, this is the news. I was handed the news. Like, we listened to the news. I was handed it. But then, because you all know that the human agenda, I don't work for the human agenda. I work for the animals, right? And so my thoughts, prayers, everything in my soul and being go to live will end in 5 seconds. Hold on. This doesn't include here. Hold on. It wanted me to, okay, sorry. It wanted me to make sure it was still going. Everything in my heart, soul, my being, not my mind, but my heart, soul, and being goes out to Fred and Peanut. But at the same time, I was digging and I was doing more digging and people weren't necessarily receptive to that. And I realized at the same time, I was trying to help people.
Right.
And I went into the human agenda. So where I'm getting to is please, for whatever arena or area for animals is concerned, please, and this is for me too, please do your research. Please do your research before handing over your hard-earned money. And that's...
And I say that because there are legitimate groups in your own community. You do not have to go to GoFundMe or any of these. There are legitimate groups in your own community, rescues locally in your backyard who need your financial support. You don't have to say, oh my God, there's a national story. I've got to just send all this money. And that is why, like John and Courtney with Gunner, have been very careful about that GoFundMe that was started, because they want to make sure whatever money was donated is used for the right reason and only the right reason. And everyone tries to say, oh, they're going to use it for this or this. He has said all along what he's going to use it for, either an attorney, to run for office, or to start a foundation. So again, that's why the money has not been pulled out of GoFundMe yet, because he doesn't want the improprieties. So when you see someone making $200,000, $300,000, $400,000,
500 now,
you need to stop and ask yourself, who are we helping? Because one, those animals are gone.
Yeah.
And two, you have animals in your community who need help. Very careful.
And you know what? I can't agree with you more. And when I first started doing this essentially full time, one really big animal advocate influencer told me never to recommend people donate money. And I failed without doing the research. And you know what? I failed a few times. I'm not perfect. I failed a few times. I admit it. And you know what? I have to do in the future more research when it comes to donating money or giving your like I said, your hard-earned money, because I
have encouraged people to donate, but it is only because I have fully done the research and I know exactly where it's going. If you donate to John and Courtney, it's going where it says it's going. And if it doesn't, I'll throw up a crap storm, right? I know when you donate to my animal shelter where every ounce of that money is going. We have an EIN. Our medical fund is for medical. It does not pay a salary. It does not pay any volunteers. It does not pay for luxury items for us. It pays for medical. So you need to be careful where you donate.
Okay,
and you learn who the reputable people are.
I want to get to what Christy C says, but there's a user. Hey, y'all, the moderators need to block this person who has 1 follower. If I accidentally hit a deer on the highway, can I keep it? But Christy Lee says, and this is good, please mention the 501c3 status and transparency with updates on animals. Because again, it's not enough to have that EIN number. You have to go further and move it into and get approval for the 501c3.
Just because an organization has a 501c does not, let me repeat myself, it does not make them legitimate in any way, shape, or form. If you have a 501c, before you donate, you go to the website for the federal government and you look up their taxes. You look up them on GuideStar. You look them up and look at where their money is going, because they have to report that. They have to report that. So there is a transparency in those records. Again, it's federal, but you can file a FOIA and ask for all of it. And most of it is online for you to see.
Mm-hmm.
I strongly encourage you. Like, for us, we are not a 501c. We are a corporation that allows donations and write-offs. And when we set it up for the shelter where I volunteer, we specifically set it up to where we never touch the money that is fundraised. It comes into a bank account that transfers directly into our city medical fund. So no volunteer on the board can access that money. What does that mean? No one can steal it.
Mm-hmm.
Your transparency. So if you find that a group is changing their name often, that is a red flag. If they're changing their name every 2 years, that is a red flag. A reputable rescue will have the same 501c and same original name for a long, long, long time, because it takes many years to build a reputable rescue.
And the thing is this, there are groups out there who find these and search out these organizations. And we're not saying anyone in particular, but also too, Google it. Once again, Google it or Chat GPT it, and you might find the information that Chen is talking about. Whoa, that was shady.
Well, here's the thing.
Year?
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
When I donate to any rescue or animal organization,
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to say it. I don't donate to the ASPCA. I don't donate to the Humane Society, and I do not and will never donate to Best Friends. Never in my life. You know why? They're worth millions, and they pay major salaries for employees. I will not donate money to someone's salary. Okay?
Yeah.
A local rescue in your community, that rescue is volunteer driven. There is no paid employee in it. You can look at the EIN and see that there's no paid employee. And those are the rescues that I give to. Those are the ones working their hardest to get these fosters, to find fosters and get these animals adopted.
And the thing is too, you know this, sorry, that's why, that you know this as well as I do, is that, you know what, there are so many, and this is the sad part, it really is, and I think it's social media that's helped it out, but it also can help the other side out in that, gosh, I forgot what I was going to say. So many people who are making money off of animals, and it really, it sickens me. I can't stand it. When we talk about the board and train, hey, you know what? You can't send your dog out for 2 weeks to be boarded and trained, and the dog will come back. Hi, mommy, what do you want? Right? Yeah. I get trained with Aja. Grooming. That's another thing too. Aja might not have the best haircut these days, but at least she smells fresh from the shampoo in the bath I gave her. I don't leave my animal, my dog daughter alone. She is here tonight.
In 2015,
she's there.
Hi, baby girl. In 2015, the CEO of one of the largest welfare organizations in the country, HS, I'm not going to say their name, but HS is the initials, was being paid $4 million a year. You guys, if someone is making $4 million a year, you should ask yourself why you're not making $4 million a year, because you're the one picking up poop and crap every day in a dog yard at an animal shelter. Mm-hmm. The fact of the matter is, that is where your money is going to pay those salaries. You have local rescue groups in your own backyard who don't have any salaries. They live off the food donations and the donations you give them, and every ounce goes to their dogs.
I mean, look at, so many organizations have, like, one of my favorites is Just a Girl Saving Dogs. And I know her from South Texas. I used to live there. And you know what? It's like $2 Tuesdays. $2. Yeah. Investigate her, look into her, research. And we're not saying this because we get anything out of it. Actually, right. we don't get anything financially out of it. But what we do get is there's something that it brings joy to us to say, hey, please do this so you may not fall into a trap.
Fran, I would disagree with you wholeheartedly, and that is one group that I would not support.
Oh, okay. Yep. That's, yeah. So $9 an hour. I was getting $9 an hour only for 37 to 39 hour weeks. I like what you said earlier, though, is that, we need to, and we didn't talk about, or we might have, please don't share things on social media that aren't verified, and oftentimes.
I see stories all the time. The first one I saw about the squirrel and the possum was yours. And I said, before I share any of this, I'm going to go look for myself. And I figured out in under 12 hours, no.
But any organization.
It goes for anybody. You can do a simple search on Google. You can do a simple search on complaints for that organization, a lot of things. And just because it's on the internet, you guys, 90% of what's on the internet is not true. It's not true. You can use AI. I could use AI technology tomorrow to make Paul say, everyone, please go to Shannon's TikTok and send her $1 million through her Cash App.
Everyone, please go to Shannon's TikTok.
You would think it's Paul saying it because it looks like Paul. It sounds like Paul, but guess what? It ain't Paul.
Does it taste like Paul? Got a little humor.
It doesn't have your eyes. The eyes would be the giveaway. But my point is, it's very easy to figure out. Like, if I'm going to spend my money donating, I'm either going to do it on PIRs or to a local rescue. I'm sure as heck not going to fund something that I see online on social media first and foremost.
More Small Joey 109 again. Shannon, can we get PIRs for nonprofits?
Yes.
Okay. Does Paul have a girlfriend? Yep.
Aja and me. I told Paul we're getting married.
Come on, let's keep this. I was almost saying on the down low. Are
you saying you wouldn't marry me? You know what? I don't love you no more. Now you can say people love me except for Shannon.
People don't necessarily love me. Trust me. Lately, networkers, Christy Lee, networkers putting PayPal out there, but not putting the actual rescue the dog is going to.
Correct. If a networker wants to network a dog and they want to transport a dog, here is what you should know. And you guys, I've done this for 22 years. I know I look young and pretty, but I'm old, okay? I'm very, very old. I'm an old, ornery woman in a shoe. So,
true.
If someone is asking for money to network or transport a dog and they're not willing to post the dog, they're not willing to post the networker, they're not willing to post where that dog is going, do not donate. Do not.
What was that?
Do not donate.
Right.
Don't be a dumb aze.
And that's the thing. But Shannon, you and I both know this. Maybe me more so because, well, we're the same. Come on. We know this because we see that, it's almost like those Sally Struthers commercials from back in the day where she's, the dogs, some people would turn it off, but it's that empathy that we have, that we just feel that we need to, because we want to save that life. But at the same time, proceed with caution.
Yeah. I mean, let me put it another way.
Okay.
How many times do you see an infomercial for a workout tool? Buy the Solo Flex. Buy the Bow Flex. Buy the, who's the girl that had the thing that went between her legs and crushed it back and forth? Buy that.
Susan Powder.
And how many of them work? And how many of them sit in a garage and do nothing? Just because they say it's good for you does not mean it is. Mm-hmm. The fact of the matter is, this is, through many investigations, this is the one industry, and I hate to call it an industry, but animal welfare is an industry, where there are the most scammers ever.
And the other thing is, too, that and we have to make sure of this, because as we talked about shelters, oftentimes it's the vet techs who we don't want them to experience the death threats, if you will, or all that drama because higher ups did something, or there are good trainers out there.
Yeah.
We just have to, again, do the research. And these days, as Shannon pointed out, sorry, pointing is rude. I got to stop that. But as Shannon pointed out, AI is huge. And also you can buy 5-star reviews. You can buy 5-star, you can buy anything essentially, but you just have to do the research. The more research you do, the better off you probably will be.
Yes.
So we're not.
It comes back to this. It's very simple. And I will say this over and over. There are a lot of people who donate to national organizations. Don't do it. Donate to your local rescues and animal shelters. Call your local animal shelter and ask if they have a medical fund or a building fund. Call your animal shelter and ask them who is a reputable rescue that they work with. Donate to your local people. And that's it. Mm-hmm. Help your own community. There's enough people in the world to help the world, but there's not enough people in your own community to help your own community. Love that.
It's so true. It's so true. Wow. I can't. Oh, there's some of the text messages I'm getting. Okay.
Well, I can't see them, so you have to tell me.
No, because again, I'm not trying to create controversy. This is just for people to know this information, to get informed. And the thing is, I saw this for the first time. 1, 2, 3. Look at that. I print on both sides.
It is 16-point font because I'm blind. So if you print it out in 12-point, it's going to be a lot thinner. I'm just saying.
I can read it now. I can read it. So yeah, it's all going to be there. And that's what we want to come out of this. We want education. We want this to be an educational workshop where you can learn things for not just right now, but for all the way down the line. And it's not about, I just want to say shitting on people or, or groups or anything like that. Just know that you can be the one who starts something out, or you can be the one who works for yourself or works for your money to see where things can go or are going.
So someone said the love for PACC, I don't know who that is. We need certifications for trainers and groomers. Guess what? I agree, which is why I've called my state representative to ask him for any type of legislation around that. So I highly suggest you call your state representative and tell him your concern and show him stories of why you need this, especially if they're the stories in your own state, and say, this is why we need a level of registration that requires a certification and background check for these people. And then maybe your state rep will be happy to take that to the state floor and make that a bill, which makes that a law in your state.
Right. There are people here. I think PACC, isn't that the Prosecuting Attorneys Coordinating Council?
I don't know. It just said the love of PACC. So I was just answering her question.
Okay. Okay. What else? I'm just going to.
Oh, she had one more thing. Hold on. She said one more thing in another comment. Call your local vets and ask if they have an angel fund. 100%.
Oh, that's great.
100%. If you call the local ER facility here where we do our business, that's the place we take them after hours. That's where we took our burn dogs the other day. They will take a donation over the phone for the animal shelter towards those animals. And if there's stuff left over, they just hold it till the next one comes in from us.
Mm-hmm. Sorry.
No, she's a small rescue. The love for PACC is a small rescue. And that's just it. There's a small rural rescue. So guys, I don't know her, but go look her up and look and see if she's legit, which I'm sure she is. And then go donate to her. That's where you make the difference, is donating to a small rescue like that.
And I like this too. Well, here's Christy again. Christy, you've got some great questions. You should be a reporter in the real news world. Is there any oversight? What oversight exists for rescues, Shannon? That depends, I'm sure, on the area.
So some states require rescues to register, some don't. In Texas, they don't, but in other states they do. And if they are required to register, they're subject to being, reviewed by your state investigators. I honestly, Google and Facebook and some of these places are your best friend, you guys. If you type in complaints against ABC Rescue, okay, on Google, you'd be surprised at what comes up under the name of that rescue, and see if that's the rescue in your community. If you type that same thing in the search bar on Facebook, you may find people who have complaints online. And here's the thing, listen to them. If there's one, okay, maybe it's a one-off issue. If there's two, if there's 3, 4, and 5, when you have one sold dog at Petland that's sick, could be a mistake. But when you have thousands, it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to use your Google and your social media searches to try and find a lot of that out. But
Right.
I will say this. If you call our animal shelter and you say, look, I have to leave for the week and I need someone to watch my dog, we will tell you the list of reputable daycare facilities that we would recommend, that we work with, that we know. We will tell you a list of groomers that we recommend and we know. We will tell you a list of rescues that we work with and we know. And that's where we would encourage you to donate. So call your local group and ask them, because the city entity has no reason not to tell you that, right?
Yeah. I like this. It might make me move to Canada now. Kim Fitz, 22. Our stores don't sell animals here. Our pet stores don't sell animals in Canada. That's amazing. What is this? Britt and Lucius. I'm going to say Adventures. Did I get it right? Lucius. I didn't want to say Luscious. Colorado has oversight and can be audited yearly. And Ivy Sunflower. In Nebraska, you have to get a license to be a rescue, and it's monitored by the Department of Agriculture.
Right.
Yeah. Harris, it says, is by the health department. Can that happen?
So Harris is one of the few cities in America where animal services falls under the health department. Why? I don't know. It usually falls as its own department or under public safety, which is the police department. But in Harris County, it's under the health department, and that's part of the problem.
Mm-hmm. Love Sammy, 911211. I have 2 dogs, and they get royal treatment because they are my world. That's why we're here. We're animal lovers. We're animal advocates. We're animal activists. Or we're just, we have 4-legged or 2-legged, not 2-legged, but, 4-legged family members here, right? Who we want to protect. And like I always say, I just want to go to an island. If I had the money, go buy an island and take all the animals with me.
Yeah.
But we can't do that. We can't do that. Because that might lead to me hoarding. And my mother has that issue. Ooh, I hope she's not listening. So, on TikTok. But, I don't.
Love you, Mom. We love you. Okay. I don't know who this is, but can I adopt my dog if I had to release him to a vet, but recently found him at a dog shelter? I don't know why you would have had to release him to a vet, so that depends on that answer. If there was a cruelty issue, they may not let you, they may have notified the shelters, so therefore you would be on the no adopt list. Mm-hmm. But if your dog is at an animal shelter, 1,000%, you can go in and adopt it back. And
Georgia, I just heard somebody, Laura Allen Wolf, Georgia is under the Department of Agriculture also.
That's horrible. That's horrible.
I mean, we haven't had pet stores selling pets since 2015. And Eleni is from Australia. In Australia, we are ready to outlaw mills bill passed. We are ready to outlaw mills bill passed.
Here's the thing. When I tell you that your voice, your signature, and your vote are so important.
She means it.
I mean this. I truly mean this, you guys. Look, for me, it is not about political parties. I am supporting Brandon Chase McGee, who's a Democrat. I'm a Republican, but I am supporting him in the city of Denton because he's backing the animal shelter change. Okay. And I'm supporting his recall against a mayor who is a Republican. For me, it is not about a political party. But at the end of the day, we have to use our votes and our voice, and we have to use it especially at election time. Harris County's biggest problem is you keep electing the same people. Get out there, get a billboard, raise money, and get a billboard that says, unelect these a-holes. I mean, seriously, you have to, you have to do that.
We talked about the folks in Marlin, which is that's south of Waco, I believe. All roads lead back to Texas. Well, not all roads. But you know what? They actually, it's a much smaller community. Someone went into we did this story. Someone went into the shelter one day and found an unalive dog and other dogs who were, just skin and bones. And there was dirt and dust in the water and food bowls. And nobody was there to take care of these dogs. These people, it was a grassroots effort. So these people started coming together one by one by one by one. They got the Facebook together. They faced the book group together, right? Then they were doing these, what do you call them? Outside City Hall rallies, doing these rallies. Then they went even further to go and buy billboards. Mind you, the billboards are cheaper there, but there are fewer people there as well.
Right.
So if they're putting those people, they're putting their legislators or lawmakers or officials up there, if they're putting them on blast on a billboard, that is great. Because, and you know what, I have always said to you, just one more point, is that I don't like to mix politics and animals, but you just changed my brain. And that's pretty much.
It is very much a part of this issue. Politics is very much a part of this issue. Those officials work for us. And the day that they forget that, well, let me remind you. Let me remind you. Because you work for your constituents. So when your constituents tell you what they want and you choose not to listen, unelect them. Unelect them.
Yeah.
When you sit there and reelect with overwhelming support, by the way, I start to lose my interest in wanting to try to help you because you're not trying to change it yourself. The key to change starts at the top with the people who can make the laws, the rules, the ordinances in our towns, states, and municipalities. Unelect them.
Vote them out.
I don't care what party they're with. If you're a Democrat and you say, I will never vote for a Republican if they support animals. Who cares? Who cares? Go sit down with them. If they support animals and they're committed to it, vote for them. I would vote for a Democrat if they support animals. 100%.
Also, be very mindful, and maybe demure, but be mindful about candidates who go on the campaign trail with their dogs in tow. And I bring that back to the Pennsylvania Washington County Controller. What was her name? Oh, April Sloan. She took her dog Thor on all the, with all the campaign stops. Sadly, Thor wound up unalive in a bag in her house.
Yeah.
So you gotta do your research on that as well.
Right. So, I mean, and I'll give you an example, and this is not to be political, but J.D. Vance. I know people love to hate him and hate to love him. I get it. He is truly an animal lover.
Is he?
Yes. And his dog Atlas has been with him he had dogs before that. He has always had German Shepherd breeds. That dog goes everywhere with him. It's almost a service dog. So the fact of the matter is, if we have someone like that in office, why do we think he may not do something for animals? He might. So I emailed this campaign and said, well, my determination if I vote for you and Trump is I want to know if you're going to do something for animals. And I got an email back.
Was it a standard form email?
No.
Oh, apparently they know you too.
It was from someone on his team that said, J.D. Vance definitely supports animals, and he has always been an animal lover, and they even signed their name to it.
Wow.
So the fact of the matter is, what has Kamala and them done for animals in the last 4 years?
Let's also, we talked about this the other night on Facebook. Let's also talk about the law that President Trump signed back in his first term.
Yeah, I mean, the fact of the matter is you have to look at what people do on their record. And just like I said, I'm in Denton County, which neighbors Frisco. We helped a candidate run on the pet platform. She has not done what she promised. And I can tell you this right now, guys, and she's in the same party as me. I will unelect her. I will unelect her next year when she runs for her office seat. You can guarantee that. So it doesn't matter what their affiliation is. Animals is a universal.
Yep.
Universal. Let me say it over and over. Issue. It is not a political party issue.
Right. And we also, we also brought the topic up of Kristi Noem the other day, South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem, who I believe is going to be Trump's director of Homeland Security. And she wrote in the book how she unalived her dog Cricket, who she called a trained assassin. And I'm bringing that up only because only a dog has the power to bring two parties, the Democrats, essentially, the Democrats and the Republicans together. The dog.
Well, I always joke about this in Texas because we are very much known for being a Republican state, okay? Texas is a conservative state. Any of you guys on here know that.
Yep.
However, when the original puppy mill pipeline bill hit the floor in 2021, it was voted on unanimously across the board by Democrats and Republicans. The governor, who was a Republican at the time, chose not to sign it. He regrets that, I guarantee you. But it came back the next year, and it unanimously passed the legislature. It was the Senate that didn't pass it.
Sorry, guys. I'm just for charging purposes. Sorry,
and it's going to come back again this session in 2025. And I think we're going to get it passed. Is it going to be difficult? Yes, but we're going to get it passed.
Yeah.
And so the fact of the matter is, if Texas Republicans and Democrats can universally vote on an issue, anyone else can. I guarantee you that. But it comes down to you using your voice and demanding from your representatives what you expect of them.
And this keeps coming up, and for those of you who don't know, my account was permanently banned because of a story that I did, and it involved bark. And the thing is, as you said earlier, because people, and I can understand this because I've been keeping up with it, but people keep bringing up Harris County. So, and things there are not good. So again,
I would say it's one of the worst animal situations in our country today. I would legitimately say that. I would say that the Houston, Harris County whole thing, it is one of the worst animal welfare situations in our country today. And anyone who has any kind of position in Harris County or the city of Houston should be ashamed of them damn selves.
So Britt and Lucius Adventure says, I am starting a group for Harris County doing the research phase right now. That's exactly what needs to be done. I mean, Randy Wallace at Fox 26, he's the animal advocate reporter in the market, right? And he can only do so many stories at the same time, right?
Right.
Right.
And here's the thing. You use the power of your PIRs in Harris County. You file for their budgets. You file for their spending. You file for every email. You file for everything. Anything and everything you can possibly file for. File.
So, Britt and Luscious Adventures, Brittany and Lucius, I'm sorry, not Luscious, Lucious Adventures. I'm going to go friend you right now because I want to talk with you more so we can get you to the right place. Sorry, Go ahead, Shannon.
No, but I think that if I had to name any state today in the most critical animal welfare position in its time, Houston is it. Houston, Texas is it. It is, you can't even exaggerate how bad of an issue it is. And it's so mind-boggling that our legislature, and by the way, our state reps down there who cover that area, Briscoe Kane, he's not in support of animals. He's a Republican. Get him voted out, you guys. I can't get him voted out. I don't live there. Paul doesn't live there, but you sure can. You sure can. You can go do a GoFundMe to raise door flyers to go door to door and say, unelect Briscoe Kane. Absolutely. But he's one of the state legislators down there, and let me tell you, he is not animal friendly at all. And he votes against any animal bill that hits the floor at the state level. And that is your problem, because you're never going to get change with that. So get him voted out.
Yep. Webster, Texas, 39 years old.
Yep.
Your Texas State Representative, HD 128.
Yep.
Oh, definitely not a dog lover.
And your other one down there, Steve Toth.
What's his last name?
Toth, T-O-T-H. They both vote against any animal bill that hits the floor in the state of Texas. And the thing is, they could be down there filing for funding to help the animal situation in their town. They could be going to the state level to find grants to help their communities. But instead, they're working against every animal in the state of Texas. They kill every animal bill every time. Those two alone.
Why? And why? Do we know why this is the case?
Because they represent a portion of a city and rural area. And your rural farmers do not want these laws. Because they don't, and the thing is, I agree with some of that in some aspects. Because what applies to a city is different than what applies to a very rural county of farmers, right? They don't necessarily take a horse to a vet. Things are different in the country. That's just a fact, you guys. It's the fact of the nature of life and the circle of life. However, that's not how it works in the city. So they vote based on how their constituents tell them, which is, don't you dare stop a bill that allows me that I can't say I can't breed my dog.
Right.
So you have to be louder than the rural constituents.
And the thing is this, having lived in Texas years twice, last time in South Texas, it is essentially a place where, it's often considered, the dog is often considered the backyard dog, tethered on something. There might be some shelter, food and water, and that's the way people are. It's a mindset. Yeah. It's a mindset that needs to be, from an animal advocate's point of view, changed. But they're not there. They're not there. I know a really good animal advocate who changed the shelter all around, got the shelters cleared. They pushed her off, brought somebody in. Person doesn't even know about animals. We also talked about that. Just because the person is a director of an animal shelter does not mean they like animals or have experience with animals. For instance, Columbus, Georgia, the woman who who was arrested, by the way, the director, one third of the shelter employees, she even wrote on her application, I have no experience with animals. So remember, just because you're working with an agency doesn't mean they like animals. Just saying. Not everyone. But some people in that organization may not like animals. Right. It sounds preposterous, but it's true.
Yes, very much so. It is. It's absolutely true.
Yeah.
But again, I cannot reiterate enough. You have got to change the mindset in your elections, or you will never change the crisis.
Yeah, I agree. Hey, Shannon, this has been great as usual. Shannon and I, we're going to be doing these workshops on Instagram, I think, tomorrow, and YouTube as well. Those are social media platforms? Yes. But we're going to be doing more of these educational workshops to help everyone, not just targeting people. It's a way we can go about, using these easy steps. It sounds like I'm a salesperson, but I'm not. Actually, I am, because I'm for the animals. Step-by-step process where you can turn animal injustices into animal justice. With that said, that's it for me. Shannon, what's your closing point, please?
My closing point is this. Look, animal welfare is a tough industry, and we have to, one, stop attacking each other. The attacks on people that are unfounded in this community are irresponsible, they are unfixable, and they're devastating. So just because you see someone say so-and-so is a bad rescue or so-and-so is a bad networker or so-and-so, do your own research. Do not, if I could implore everyone to get off of the social media bandwagon for just a moment, even though we're using it, use it for good. Use it for good, like we are trying to do. Don't use it to attack someone. And if you do, if you know someone is bad, then you do it right. You do it with your evidence and your facts. But you don't just put stuff out there and then people read it and agree, oh, I got to go shut this person. I'm going to go share the post. You guys, we're killing ourselves or
unaliving ourselves. Yes, because the TikTok shop is so great. Because
we are attacking each other when we should be attacking the problem.
And that's why I got SB'd.
Yeah.
And I need my voice to be out there. You need your voice. We all need our voices to be out there. So the attacks, and especially those blank threats, come on. To me, that just brings us down to a level where we don't want to be. I mean, we may be caught up in the moment because you know how emotional we can get, right? Well, maybe me, not necessarily Shannon.
Speaking of emotions.
Huh?
Speaking of emotions.
Yes.
Go to the TikTok shop and buy these gratitude journals. I got them. I've never shopped on TikTok shop. I didn't know there was a TikTok shop. But these things, I bought them. I was like, I'll give them to a customer for Christmas. I thought they were going to probably be cheap and, from China. These are great. You guys, Denise Albright on TikTok. And honestly, we could all in the animal world use a little positivity. So use your gratitude journal with your stickers and every day write the positive things about animal welfare. Make yourself positive. Make yourself realize that we should be grateful and have a great attitude about what we do. So shop at the TikTok shop. Denise Albright's little.
And let me just counter that for a moment because we don't have to go there. We don't have to go to that place to make our purchases, especially if you Google it and find it less expensive at another area, at another place. But we can have an attitude of gratitude. We don't need a book to take, to do our daily inventory or, whatever. I'm thankful for this. But we can have the attitude of gratitude. And I wake up in the morning every day and, I see, we'll show her again because she always falls asleep.
Aja.
Aja. Hey, girl.
See? People who I'm grateful for today. Do you see that?
Right.
I'm going to put your name in there, Paul.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. So, yeah, the attitude of gratitude is really important. And you know what? And it's oftentimes, it's so much easier said than done. Oh, breathe before you respond or respond and then erase it.
Don't attack our own. Don't attack our own. Do your research, you guys, because we're hurting our own selves and making our own selves look bad by doing it. We have so much time that put that energy into going after your representatives and getting them to listen to you, not attacking each other, not attacking other rescues just because you don't like them. Just get over it and move on.
Yep.
And if there is something factual, bring it to someone who has a voice who can make it known. But don't, after they've done the research and background checked it and everything else, but just stop. It's got to stop.
Okay. We need more unalive shelters to open and be state funded, be proactive. We need to raise more awareness. And thank you. Turquoise Princess likes my turquoise couch. So at the end of the day, we've got the video. I'm going to post it and the sheets right after we do this. the sheets, sorry, the documents. My mind is getting tired. But yeah, we're going to put it up there. And we'd love to hear feedback as to if you did it and the results that you got from it. Let me say the results that you got from it, because you have to go in there, not necessarily the bulldog, self-proclaimed bulldog, but you have to go in there. Hey, how are you? What's going on? Can you help me with this?
Wait, I might be a bulldog, but I'm grateful.
Right. And I'm grateful for you. And we're all grateful to be able to use our calling, if you will, to help the animals, because that's why we do this. That's why.
Someone said we should organize a huge adoption day outside Harris County. I just want to say this. Here's what I think you should organize. A TikTok day at the Harris County shelter. Get 500 people there. Every one of them willing to go on TikTok live. Go in and say, I want to adopt or see a dog, and show off the dogs and be blanketing TikTok with all these dogs available for adoption, and show the mass amount of people there to help get these dogs adopted, and just go on TikTok live and show them all off. That way, when people scroll through their TikTok, guess what comes up? You, live, a mass group of people, all with different feeds of adoptable dogs.
Yes, I like that. I love that, because it hurts. It hurts to hear how many dogs are unalived each and every day, and how the policies are split as far as how much time. That's an excellent idea.
All stand outside the building together, all go live at the same time and say, we're here to go live on TikTok to show all these available dogs, and walk into that place, 500 to 1,000 people, get all your animal activists to do it, and go live so it's showing up on the live feed all day long, and just keep walking through and showing, and sit with the dog, talk to the dog, let the dog's personality come through.
Yeah, we just need to people need to show up en masse. I always like the animal village, if you will, surround the shelter, and then
people to
show off
drive
the dogs.
do a social media frenzy. Say, please, if you're in Austin or a surrounding city, drive in for our massive TikTok adoption day. Help us get these animals seen and take over a platform.
So that being said, how can people go about doing that, Shannon? That's a great idea. Here we are, we're all talking about it, but how can that get started?
So if I were going to implement that, I would set up my Gmail account, TikTok, action plan day. I would email every rescue group, and I would look up every rescue group on Google that's in Houston. I would email every animal activist group and say, look, all in one email, and say, guys, we got to come together. We got to help these animals. So we're going to do it in the most massive, live, in-your-face way that no one can miss. We need 500 to 1,000 people to show up, to go live and go on TikTok and walk in that building and say, we're here to show off every available dog for adoption. And just start going through one by one, and just send people out and take them for a walk outside if they'll let you, and show off their personality. But if you make a call to action to get people to come, they will.
Now, here's the thing. I mean, because I believe different shelters operate differently, but one member, a public person, anybody can go into a shelter under normal hours and go in and look at the animals, right?
Yes. And you know what I would do?
Okay, that was a point.
And I would reach out to the shelter and say, we're going to try to organize this. So I'm letting you know ahead of time. This is what we're doing. And we hope that you will, work with us on this. But it's going to be a massive, in-your-face, take over a platform day, and call it that. Take over TikTok with animal welfare. And if you can't do it in that city, get people to go to other cities. Say, we're taking a national call to action. We want you in your local city. If you're not near us, come join us. But if you're not near us, go on your city this time, this day, get outside your shelter and go live into the lives with all of these animals available for adoption.
One creator takes a dog out in the public with a leash, says, adopt me. What's great? I really like this. Shannon, I didn't think of this. You did. This is a great idea. what can be from one shelter can, lead to a national dog day, far as a national shelter day.
Why not National Social Media Spotlight Day for a dog or a cat? It doesn't have to be just the dogs. You have people who love cats.
Yeah.
So someone take the reins with the idea, put out your video and tag me and Paul. We will share it and ask our audiences to go into their local areas and do the same. Everybody come on this Saturday to your local shelter and if you're in a rescue and they're in homes, ask all your fosters to go live that day, that time on TikTok and show off their animals. And you can make a movement out of it. And the best thing is if they don't have TikTok, ask them to go live on Facebook.
I'm seeing some comments that you should organize it.
I don't have time.
Right. That's why we're doing this workshop to begin with.
I have 8,000 messages that I still have not read.
I know. Voicemails, texts. I mean, it's a lot.
If someone organizes it and someone starts to put it together, I will always share it. I will encourage it and market it. I will have Paul share it on his page and say, look, animal activists across the country. I don't care if you're in New York. Paul will do it. He'll be like, if you're in New York, New Jersey, Florida, get to your animal shelter on this day and this time. Go live on TikTok or Facebook. Let's show off all these available dogs that need to get adopted so we can save some lives today.
Okay, so Rapunzel says, what would be the first step? What would be the first? You have to have someone or a group, maybe a few people, not a group, because then we get, different thoughts, different whatever. But, one or two or three people, and then get the word out in your community, especially through social media. Pick the day, pick the time, pick the shelter.
Everyone loves their social media, do we not? We're all sitting here right now. So pick a day and time. That's where you start.
Yeah.
Pick a day and time. Start advertising it.
And start advertising it.
Ask for a national call to action to say shelters across America are facing inundated space issues. We are calling for a national call to action social media day for animal rescue. We are asking every rescue, every foster, every person in every city to go to your shelter, or if you are a foster, go live from your home. Go live on this day, this time, and show off your available dog for 30 minutes. And let's inundate our shelters and show up and tell them we're here for the TikTok, Facebook Live platform event. We need an available dog for adoption to show off. Boom.
Period. And don't let them ruffle your feathers or manhandle you or whatever. I mean, I've heard stories where they won't let people come in. And it's like, no. If they say no to 200 people outside their door, what do you think is going to happen? Riot.
It's live, you guys. You walk into that front desk and say, we're all here for the TikTok. And trust me, the animal shelters are going to get the call to messages. They're going to see this go across social media.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to be like, oh my gosh, there's a chance that on this day and this time, people are going to be outside of our office wanting to go live with our animals. Let's get them all bathed and groomed just in case they show up.
Yep.
You could do it. And then ask someone in every major network to reach out to their news channels and say, will you advertise the national TikTok, Facebook live event for adoptable dogs?
Randy Wallace will no doubt do a story on that.
And create a Facebook page, National TikTok, Facebook Live Adoption Day.
There you go.
And then get all of these groups to join that page and that's where you put all of the information detailed out. This is the day. This is the time. This is what we're doing. Be respectful. Be kind. Our only goal is to get these dogs seen and adopted and take over the live feeds. And
Rapunzel says, I saw that. I heard that. Harris County declined the news to interview them or go in.
That's fine. Then you stand out there on your live feed and say, we're here to show off available adoptable dogs, and they won't let us in. Why do we not want to get these dogs adopted? But guess what? All across the country, other places will be going live, and it's going to make them look bad.
I think there's a concern that they might do, someone said they might do harm to some of the animals.
No. if these are animal activists, they're not going to do harm to an animal.
No. The shelters, the two shelters that we're talking about.
File a PIR for who was euthanized. A list of every animal by name and ID that was euthanized.
I mean, this is a huge, like you said before, I mean, to use the word, kind of ground zero, if you will, for shelter issues right now.
Yes,
I mean, and the loss of life.
Maximum capacity right now. All of them. Every single one of them. And here's the thing, guys. As much as I love the idea of being completely unalived, it's never going to happen. You're going to have euthanasia in shelters. Yeah. But this is what we say in our shelter. It is our job and our responsibility to do what is right by that animal. If that animal is not going to have a healthy quality of life, we have to make that hard decision. But it is a decision that is not taken lightly. It's not like, oh, today this row goes, right? It's not like that. We have to make that decision, and it weighs very heavily on us. That's what we need to get back to and say, look, here's the facts, you guys. But if we want to do a national movement to bring and tag when you go live, if someone wants to call and talk to me about this, I will give you the steps to help you do this. Tag your representatives in your lives at your state, local, and every level so they can see everyone's live in their city.
Even more so because I can hardly ever check tags, but email and call them and let them know, hey, yo, we're going to have this national day. You might want to be out there, or you might want to come over and see what's going on.
Right. I mean, the fact of the matter is my representative would probably show up and do it with us. So if you get it on social media big enough and you spread it wide enough, it will happen. So you need 2-3 months out, plan it, activate it, and then get people across the country to activate it. I'll activate it. Paul will activate it to many people who watch him across the country, across the world.
Yeah. And that's...
You could literally take over the TikTok and Facebook lives for literally an hour. And that's all anyone would see. And when it's in your face like that, it's very hard to turn away.
So let me suggest this, is that someone create a group, and I don't believe you can create groups on TikTok, can you?
No, but someone can create a group on Facebook and then make individual videos on a TikTok page. You can create a TikTok ID. So just make an email for it, like National Takeover Live Social Media Day, whatever. National Social Media Day Takeover. National Social Media Day Takeover of animal shelters. And then whatever. But then put your page on there, and you can upload everything to that page about what's going on. Hey guys, here's an update, and everyone can follow along.
Lanny says you can create a group on TikTok. I did not know that. But the point is, I think that, you know what? I know there's already a group, Fix Our Shelters. But the thing is, I believe there has to be a certain focus. There's a lot of shelters, right? And I don't know if that specifically refers to the shelters in question. But if you specifically focus on those two, right, with a group, then, like I said earlier, you'll have all the videos and you'll have all the information. But someone or two people is better than one, need to come together and organize this and put it out there so that the animal advocate influencers can share that word on every social media platform.
Absolutely.
So you need to decide who it's going to be. You all on the ground in Houston, you know who you are, right? A lot of people, there's a circle of friends, if you will. You guys can make it happen. You just have to believe. You believe in saving animals. Now believe in yourself to make sure that you make this happen. And think about, and while you're manifesting all of this and creating all this on social media, think about what is going to happen, the outcome that you want to happen. Manifest that outcome, because you're going to make it happen, because we love animals so much that we'll do anything, like sleep in our cars at night to trap an animal so that they don't, you know what I mean? So make it happen. It's two people from Harris County. Do it. They're a group. And don't let bullies get in your way. As I always say, let your haters, especially me now these days, be your motivators. Let your haters be your motivators.
The animals, listen to this. The animal social media takeover.
There it is.
The animal social media takeover.
See, it's happening slowly in Columbus, Georgia, in part thanks to you, Paul. Thank you, Valor. It's happening. See? It happened. Columbus, Georgia didn't have a lot of attention. I told you they had the Columbus Animal Allies, this great Facebook group that people were adding to each and every day and getting all the information from the PIRs. And they got that awful footage of what they were doing inside, the employees were doing inside, and I attached to it. So I think somebody got in touch with me or I got in touch with them. And now and guess what, Shannon? The whole city council actually hates me. And I'm totally cool with that because I see these bitches, and that includes male and female, and sitting up there grandstanding and in the beginning laughing at someone who, we'll get to your animal question in a minute.
I've been arrested at several city council meetings. They know me a mile away. I ain't afraid of nothing.
Mm-hmm. Yep. You know what?
When you go to apply for a job, they say, "Have you ever been arrested?" I'm like, "Well, yes, but let me explain."
It's for the right reasons. No, that's the thing, and I can tell you, coming from the news side, where it was often, and I as I'm getting older, I'm realizing more. We're a mouthpiece, right? A mouthpiece. Randy Wallace can't demand anything.
Do you see what's happening in your comments right now?
No,
the animal media social takeover, AMST, is already being hashtagged. Let's do it. Someone create a Facebook page and invite me. I'm in.
Animal, go ahead, tell me again.
Animal media social takeover. They've already posted it.
No, AMST, animal
media social takeover.
Okay, media, sorry. Gotcha. Animal media.
It's the animal social media takeover.
That's ASMT.
Yeah, that's what it says. ASMT.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Social media takeover.
Animals, okay.
Animal social media takeover.
Got it. Put that everywhere. Put that in all your posts these days. Let's see how far that goes.
So someone create the Facebook page and invite me. I will come and help, and we will get it to go nationwide. And I'm telling you, there are millions and millions and millions of people on TikTok and Facebook, and they will see all these lives for 1 hour on a Saturday with all these adoptable dogs. And all you make sure you say is, this dog is available at Bark, Houston. We'll figure out the transport later. Just adopt it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to hang up. Well, sorry, not hang up. I've got my rotary phone here that
Well, we gotta go because I gotta pee.
Okay, you pee. But from now on, please, any of you, hashtag animal social media, ASMT, hashtag ASMT. I'm going to do a video on it right now. So y'all, if you can, give me about 10 minutes and I'll have a video up and share that, please.
Let's Zoom and I'll do it with you.
What?
Let's Zoom and I'll do it with you.
Okay. And then we'll post the video.
Yeah.
Okay. But Shannon's going to pee. I'm going to get something to drink. Non-alcoholic. I don't drink.
Hey, did the fireball work tonight, Paul?
Did you have fireball before this?
I told you I would. You said I had to lighten up a little bit.
Oh my God. Are you kidding? Oh, is that why you've been a little slow in responses to me?
You said I need to be more bubbly. I said, fine. Tomorrow night I'll do a shot of Fireball first. So I did. Am I more lovable? Can people see my real personality now?
I want you to be in the big box. You know.
That didn't sound good, dude. What big box? Are you shipping me somewhere? Are you gonna store me in your attic? And no.
Okay, Reina Gomez. Shannon, how do I reach you?
I am on TikTok, and my email is sm. Oh, hold on, I gotta look it up because I don't know.
S&M?
Hold on, not S&M. Hold on. My email is smgreer, Greer, smgreer, Greer 415 at AOL.com.
415?
Yeah.
Is that your area code?
No, I was born on tax day, April 15th.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I'm not good with numbers. Okay, so one more time. Say it again.
smgreer 415 at AOL.com. I just typed it in there.
You're still on AOL?
Look, honey, I'm old, okay?
So-
I went to Bath and Body Works the other day, and this girl's like, do you want the discount? You can sign up for our email. I said, sure. I gave her my email, smgreer415 at AOL.com. I've had it for 30 years, y'all. Why would I change it, okay? And she's like, what's AOL? I'm like, look here, bitch.
14.4 kbps dial-up.
It was
and
there before you. It had you've been connected. If you don't know it, that's a generational issue, you moron.
You've got mail.
18-year-old nimwit is what I was dealing with. Dang right, I have AOL and I'm keeping it. I refuse to go to Gmail. I refuse. Protest!
Oh my God, I love it. Okay, so Shannon, you're going to do another, I almost said hit. You're going to do another shot of Fireball before we do our Zoom?
Yes, but I really got to pee.
Okay, folks, just come back in 20 minutes and we're both going to post it on our pages. So mine's The Real Paul Mueller and yours is?
Home Sweet Home. DFW Realtor _ Forever Homes. FUR. I know everything I choose is long.
Okay, I'm still on AOL because it's 14 years later. But at the same time, wait, what is it? DFW?
DFW Realtor
Okay.
_ Forever Homes. FUREVERHO. Forever Homes. I find homes for people and pets.
Forever young. Okay, so let's get to business. Thank you so much, everybody, for being with us here on the live. We really appreciate it. We hope you learned something again. Take these glasses off. It's going to be everything is going to be up on The Real Paul Mueller.
You look so demure.
Demure. It's going to be up there, but we have to make the video first, and then it'll be up there. So Shannon, go pee. I'm going to go get a non-alcoholic drink, Pet Aja, and we're going to get that video to you. And just come back because I've been SB'd. Come back and let's share this video and get it out there. I feel the momentum right now. I really do.
We're going to get this video out there, but one of y'all better create a Facebook page, okay?
ASMT, right?
Animal Social Media Takeover!
I don't know if you want to do another one, but if you want to do another Fireball. All right, everybody, take care. See you in about 20 minutes, and we won't be live. Take care. Bye, everybody. Thank you.
How do I hang up? Do you hang it up?